Every woman on the list removed. 2 black officers removed. Not one woman remained. And just like in the Army list, no finding of misconduct, no finding of failure, no finding that they could not lead, just removed, no answers, no explanation, no accountability. And that should trouble every one of us. Because in the United States military, the stars should be earned through service, not through assorted ideological politics. So I ask, were the women and the men of color removed from promotion lists by Hegseth despite recommendations of those in command who knew them best because they could not lead? Were they removed because they lacked courage? Were they removed because they lacked competence? Were they removed because they failed the standards of the United States military? Or were qualified leaders, women, and people of color who have already earned their place denied the opportunity to rise because of a narrow political agenda rooted in discrimination? So I end where I begin. Why were qualified American patriots removed from promotion lists after they earned their place? And until Secretary Hegseth answers, Congress must demand accountability, and we must hold back some of his travel money. Well, we should do more than that. I'm being gentle and kind today. Please, everybody, join me in passing this amendment.
Thank the gentlelady for amendment. The gentleman from California is recognized to respond to the amendment.
Thank the chairman. Thank the gentlelady for her amendment. This amendment unnecessarily limits the Secretary of Defense's ability to travel until he provides information on general officer promotion boards. It's well within jurisdiction of the Secretary of Defense to review promotions. We want to have a secretary to be able to understand, address, and properly advise the president on all matters relating to national security. Travel is vital to that. For those reasons, I oppose this amendment and yield back my time.
Thank you, gentlemen. Gentlelady from Minnesota, Ms. McCollum, is recognized to address the amendment.
Mr. Chairman, I rise in the strongest support possible from this podium to support the Frankel Amendment. Secretary Hegseth's direct interference in military promotion boards should be a concern for each and every one of us. This is unprecedented, folks. This is not normal. This is not normal behavior at all. This year alone, Secretary Hegseth has blocked promotions for at least 40 senior officers. Ms. Frankel mentioned a few, but 40. These officers who have received initial approval from their peers for promotion to general officers. They have yet they have been struck off by a list by Secretary Hegseth with no explanation given. And I've seen him in committee when he's been asked. No explanation given. Approximately half of these officers were women or minorities. And this gives an alarming impression to these officers that they are being passed over because of their race or their sex. And that should concern each and every one of us. When the Secretary does this, what is the impact on a junior officer of color? What is the impact on a junior officer who's a woman? Are they seeing our military put up a, "We don't want you" sign? No help wanted from you. Will they choose to leave the service prematurely? And I don't think any of us want that. When I hear Secretary Hegseth has been asked, as I said earlier, in public congressional hearings why he took these actions, he has refused. Flat out, I don't have to give you an answer. I don't have to tell you why 40 people were taken off of a list. I don't have to tell you anything. I made this decision. This goes smack in the face of what the military stands up for when it promotes officers. And we can't sit idly by and watch our officer corps being depleted, being insulted, and being attacked. These officers are all patriots. They volunteered, they put up their hand, they took an oath of office. They have been serving their nation. They deserve, we just don't deserve, they deserve to know what specific reason why their record did not conform for a promotion that the board had given them. And if the secretary's not going to support someone for promotion, or maybe even fire them, He should provide a rationale to Congress when asked. The gentlewoman's amendment would accomplish this. We have to get the Secretary's attention somehow. So I support my colleague's amendment to restrict some travel funds, and I ask all of you to seriously think what this amendment sends a signal when we say the Secretary has a green light not to explain his decisions for not promoting men who are of color and women in general. They deserve an answer. They served our country. We deserve an answer when we ask a question for oversight. With that, I yield back.
Thank the gentlelady. The gentleman from Georgia, Mr. Bishop, is recognized to address the amendment.
Mr. Chairman, I rise in full support of Representative Frankel's amendment. The military promotion process is one of the most important systems that we have for maintaining professionalism, merit, continuity, and trust in our armed forces. Officers who are selected for promotion to the general officer ranks have gone through a rigorous process. As a consequence, when an officer who has already been selected is removed from that process, Congress has a legitimate oversight interest in understanding why. This amendment does not prevent the Secretary from making lawful personnel decisions. It doesn't dictate who must be promoted. It simply says that if an officer has been selected for promotion and is later removed, the Secretary should provide a justification to the Congressional Defense Committees before a portion of the Secretary's travel funds is made available. This is a modest and a reasonable oversight requirement. Our service members deserve to know that promotions are based on merit, on performance, on experience, and the needs of the force, not politics, not personal preference, or unexplained decision-making. Congress also has a responsibility to ensure that senior military leadership decisions are transparent enough to preserve confidence in the institution. A strong national defense depends not only on weapon systems and funding levels, it also depends on trust. Trust in the chain of command, trust in professional military judgment, and trust that decisions affecting the careers of our senior leaders are made for sound reasons. This amendment strengthens transparency, it protects the integrity of the promotion process, and it strengthens this bill and our military forces. I urge my colleagues to support it. It's a good amendment. It is needed at this time particularly, and I urge its adoption. I yield back.
Thank the gentleman. The gentlelady from Florida, Ms. Wasserman Schultz, is recognized to address the amendment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank my friend from Florida, Congresswoman Frankel, for offering this important amendment to stand up for our service members. Mr. Chairman, it is incredibly unfortunate that this amendment is even necessary.